What's going on, everybody? This is Robo from All Bark, and today I've got my official final 2023 NBA mock draft. There's a lot of great prospects in this draft, but we're going to keep it to 30 picks just because it's so hard to predict what teams are going to do in the second round, so there's really no point to lengthen out the video other than just for fun. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. The number one pick was locked in over a year ago. The San Antonio Spurs will be taking arguably the best prospect of all time, and I do expect them to manage his workload a bit as they strengthen his frame and get him ready for quicker turnaround times with games.
The Spurs was a nice counter.
Golden State Warriors. A few years
Look at that.
back.
Bring the double team. Oh my.
There's been a lot of rumors and debates about what the Hornets should do with this pick, but I just don't see them passing up on the opportunity to pair LaMelo and Scoot together in that backcourt. No matter how much they like Miller, this pick is pretty obvious to me here.
2-on-2, go! Oh! 6 seconds to go. Henderson turns the corner, got it to go.
Corey, that's not fair. It isn't. That's not fair. I like this matchup. Scoot Henderson, one-on-one. Yeah.
I believe Miller is the third best player in this draft, and I also can say he should be ready to make a great impact right away, which is what the Blazers are looking for while they continue to build around Dame rather than rebuild. Miller gives them a lot of versatility and offensive ability on the wing, and if they don't trade this pick, I'd be surprised to see anybody else go here.
Look, they're looking for this young freshman anytime.
Dance with it. This just leaves Anthony Black in a stance.
Florida set a ball straight. Oh, that's good play.
Miller takes it strong.
The Rockets could go with Whitmore here, as they've been rumored to really like him and his fit next to Jalen Green and Jabari Smith, but I do believe their biggest need is a lead facilitator, and Amen Thompson brings exactly that with an incredibly high ceiling if he's developed properly, as he's one of the best athletes in the entire league from day one.
Amen on Bronny. High pick and roll. Amen!
The Pistons have a few options to choose from with this pick, and they've already got a set-in-stone core trio with Cade, Jaden Ivey, and Jalen Duren. I think they go with a guy who fits the core well and may just be the top prospect on the board at this time, and that's Cam Whitmore. Reports have come out they're a big fan of Asar Thompson, but ultimately when draft night comes around, I think they go with a prospect that checks more boxes in terms of fit.
A lot of shots here today.
The Magic are picking 6th after a big improvement year, and I think they've got a solid core and can swing for a major upside at the guard spot with this pick, and they draft Asar Thompson. If they can develop him into a lead guard, I think he can elevate them to the next level of eventual contention.
We got Ja'Kai Howard in the game. Oh, are you serious? What? Into Asar! So far this game.
About 8 of them in the first quarter.
The Pacers may luck into a no-brainer draft pick here with Jarris Walker. The fit with Turner is there, and they have the roster makeup to utilize his skill set really well while he continues to develop his offensive game even more, and I think this could be a home run scenario for them.
This puzzled him to Walker. He's going to take the 3.
Again, exchange.
Green. This is what they need, a little more of this. Back, as Grant said, maybe just put 2 on the glass open look.
The Wizards could be the biggest unknown, as they may potentially move into the top 3 of the draft as they look to rebuild. I think this pick could come down to who they want to remain on the roster for the future, but I think taking Anthony Black here and giving him a lot of usage and time to grow as a scorer could give them a potential franchise guard to start things off.
For the Razorbacks, Black is open off the baseline. Henderson will go. And shot out. Johnson got it though. And it's a 3.
I was really torn on this pick because I think there's a real chance Bilal Coulibaly is a pick here for the Jazz, but I feel like Taylor Hendricks fits extremely well here, playing between Laurie and Kessler to build a long frontcourt trio. His shooting ability and athletic upside is too great to pass on. I think regardless of which guy they take, the Jazz can get a solid guard later in this draft, as they also pick 16th and 28th.
Pass, easy turnover, 3-on-1, and alley-oop.
The Mavericks are definitely a team I can see trading out of this pick for a proven veteran scorer, but if they do keep this pick, I think it'd be a smart move to take Cason Wallace over the remaining guys in the field, as his defensive ability is something the Mavericks really lack as a team, and drafting him gives them insurance in case Kyrie leaves this offseason or in the future, as he's obviously been very unpredictable. I do believe all 3 guards can play together still if he stays long-term.
To New York and the Sweet 16 in the East region. Wallace gets to the...
The Magic are back on the clock, and if Wallace was still on the board, I think it's a no-brainer to potentially add to the backcourt of the future with Asar and Wallace. But based on this mock, Wallace is already off the board, so after selecting the potential facilitator of the future, I think the roster is lacking some shooting, and grabbing Grady Dick makes sense here. He's got a lot of upside and isn't just a sharpshooter, but he instantly improves their spacing around Franz and Paolo and could help lead the Magic into the playoffs next season. Woj has alluded to Kobe Buffkin being a potential lottery promise, and sources have said someone who worked out with Kobe in the past few weeks was extremely high on him, and I saw a picture posted of Kobe and Shea in the gym together. I think the fit makes sense, and obviously with that information provided, there's a real possibility the Thunder were that team. I think it's a great pick for them unless someone even earlier in the lottery grabs him.
Struggled the 2 games before that. Buffkin.
Bilal Coulibaly is another guy who may have a lottery promise, and I think depending on which direction the Raptors go, he fits their entire mantra pretty well. He's got a ton of upside on both ends of the floor and could fit pretty well next to Scotty Barnes if they elect to rebuild around him. There could be a ton of minutes opening up for development, as Siakam and Anunoby are obvious trade candidates. Derek Lively is the obvious best center available, and I think the Pelicans are a team who may be very high on his ability. They've done a solid job of developing guys fairly quickly, and with Valanciunas starting to get older, they may look to develop Lively after selecting him here as the center of the future. He provides a ton of rim protection the team really lacked this past season.
You've seen from Duke in the past, but defensively.
We played in this game last year. We weren't ready.
The Hawks may luck into an incredible scorer here with pick 15 selecting Keontae George. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Trey and DeJounte, but I think there's a lot of value on the board here, and picking George to at least come off the bench and get buckets is a great decision for the organization as they figure out how to improve the rest of the roster.
Athletic 6'6" wing. George. Here's George. Calling his own number.
The Jazz will likely take at least one guard with their 3 first-round picks, and I think they do it here with Nick Smith Jr. He's a strong combo guard they could use as a potential point guard of the future, and I think he can fit well next to their front court group, as he has a lot of upside, and that's something the Jazz shouldn't pass up.
You know, in terms of the value to one team.
Wow. Okay, it's a knockoff. South Carolina Wednesday night. Nick Smith from the elbow.
Nick Smith Jr. going to work. Into the paint.
Little runner.
The Lakers may end up trading this pick for a proven player to help push to win one last time before LeBron moves on, but if they keep this pick, I think Bryce Sensabaugh is a great option to come off the bench and score the ball in many ways. He could impact the team similarly to how Austin Reeves did, and if they end up losing him in free agency, picking Bryce here ends up looking like a genius decision as they add a scorer on the roster where they look to upgrade elsewhere. He is a question mark defensively, but I think they can address that in free agency.
That's the first look.
The Miami Heat have a lot of options this offseason as they look to push back into the finals and come out on top this time. If they keep the pick, I think they may end up going with a family connection and draft Jet Howard, who actually is from Miami, as his dad Juwan played there in the back end of his career with LeBron. There is familiarity with this pick, as well as a dynamic scoring ability to help bolster that bench.
Averaging over 15 points a game. Oh, what a move there. Game with 3 on the shot clock. Howard, the floater.
If the Warriors stay at 19, I definitely see them adding another splash brother no matter which shooter it is. I think the one that makes the most sense is Jordan Hawkins, as his off-ball ability is incredible and he could fit perfectly next to Steph Curry. If they end up moving on from Poole, I think this could be a great replacement off the bench, and even if they keep him, I think he still provides elite shooting regardless.
It looked like took a better angle, and now there's Hawkins. And we got 5 minutes to go for the title. Here's Hawkins. That's huge.
Jalen Hood-Schifino falling all the way to pick 20 here could be a huge blessing for the Rockets, who despite already drafting Amen Thompson earlier, Hood-Schifino brings a lot of versatility as a combo guard, and he could fit their offense fairly well off the bench. I can see them parting ways with KPJ if Amen is indeed the pick, so Jalen Hood-Schifino could have a lot of usage off that bench as the lead guard there.
Galloway's got it. Hood-Schifino behind the back. Plays it home. Oh my goodness.
The Nets, like many others, have been in trade talks with both of their back-to-back picks, but I think they should keep both as they continue to rebuild around McCall and Claxton. So swinging on a former top 10 prospect in Derek Whitehead could end up proving to be a great move, as pre-injury this would have been a dream scenario.
And in the tournament, Jay, we talked about this a little bit in the first half as well.
Final 2.5 over ratio.
I think he learned a lot of that. He worked on the thing of Phelps.
With the next pick, I think the Nets stick with the upside and take Leonard Miller. Despite having Mikal Bridges locked into that wing spot already, I think the upside of Miller is very high, and there's a chance he fits in well next to him as the Nets add another long wing who can impact the game in many different ways.
Bashanis quality minutes tonight. And
Henderson comes up with it. Chance for the tie. Reversed by
Stutter step finds Miller on the pick and roll.
As I mentioned earlier, the Blazers will be looking for immediate impact players in this draft, and I do believe Max Lewis's offensive ability will translate right away. He could be another solid wing addition, along with Brandon Miller to help Dame get back into the playoffs.
Second half, 3 already. Lewis outside, 3. Get into their offense. Tough man-to-man defense. Baker on Lewis, dribble, left side, 10-foot.
Touch there from Maxwell Lewis. Lewis, step back.
The Kings will most likely be taking a winger forward with this pick, and I think the guy they really want is Max Lewis, but since I have the Blazers taking him a pick earlier, I could also see them taking Keegan's brother Chris. They've played together before at Iowa, and the duo would just strengthen the locker room even more and give the Kings a lot of versatility at the forward spot, plus it'd be really fun to watch.
It would be a big loss for the Hornets.
He's waited another double-double.
The Grizzlies could be a team who develop Noah Clowney into a premier stretch big man and help space the floor with Ja. And with Jaren's foul issues, Clowney can give some really solid minutes off the bench while having some solid upside for the future of the team.
To Sears. Kick it to Clowney.
D.A. Houston attacks. Defense!
That they've had in school history. Clowney on an open tray.
It's to win basketball games. That's what KJ Williams is trying to do.
The Pacers have solid depth already at the guard spot, but I could see them eventually separating with some guys not named Halliburton, Mathurin, and Nembhard. So I think Podziemski is a solid pick here who can provide instant offense and has upside as a creator as well.
It's now a 52-43.
And Podziemski takes the three. Podziemski outside the three-point line. He rises over Shulga, takes the three, and
in order to continue this success here in the second half.
Now I do believe the Hornets bring back PJ Washington this offseason, but I think with the position they're in, they can afford to swing on a super high potential raw talent type of guy, and they take G.G. Jackson with this pick, who I think has one of the biggest draft ranges I've ever seen. There is a legit chance someone takes a shot on him towards the lottery, and there's also a chance he slips deep in the second round. But for now, I think this is a solid area here for the Hornets.
The go-to guy. Wow.
The Jazz have already taken 2 solid prospects in this draft, and I think they could look to continue building some of the depth of the team and select a guy who has really helped himself with combine performances and high energy and effort play. Omax Prosper could be gone before this, but I have the Jazz selecting him here as a depth wing who can give incredible hustle minutes off the bench.
This game advances to the Sweet 16 against Kansas State, and Prosper Marquette with a chance to tie or take the lead. They've had only one lead today. It was 2-0.
The Pacers have said they want to move on from one of these 2 recent picks, but for the sake of this mock, they'll keep both, and I think they grab a much-needed offensive wing prospect in Julian Strawther. He's a great scorer and can help the Pacers right away, and he's got a lot of familiarity with Andrew Nembhard from last year's Gonzaga team.
Under control, poise.
Strawther on the sags. Strawther, a pull-up three.
Can State program very close because of Judd Heathcote.
With the final pick in the second round, I think the Clippers move out of this pick to opt for a non-guaranteed second-round pick instead. But if they do keep this pick, I think Colby Jones is a solid option, as he can do a lot offensively and help facilitate for a team looking to get right back into the thick of the playoff race, as well as provide some solid bench scoring as well.
Jones to the other end, the Euro stab.
First turnover of the day either way. Jones, who had the hot hand
in number 1 and number 2 nationally, but they're
So that's my official final 2023 NBA mock draft. We are now just days away from the real draft, and I couldn't be more excited to see how my draft stacks up. And of course, I'll be coming out with a lot of post-draft content, like a draft reaction, draft grades, and prospect breakdowns for guys I haven't already done yet. So be on the lookout for more videos in the future. Feel free to like this video and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Go ahead and drop a comment and let me know who you think your team should draft, as well as who you think they will draft on Thursday night. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.